feedback and you think it's potentially terrible. Yeah, but I mean, I think feedback is useful.
Feedback is feedback.
But how do you know how to discern between feedback that you actually take on board and feedback that's just like...
A gut feeling. Grade was like, that's a good idea, I want to do that as well.
Yeah.
If someone tells you something and you go, they say, go is shit, what are we going to do? Delete it. But if it rings true for us...
Would it depend on who is giving you that piece of feedback? Like, I don't know, Rick Rubin tells you, go is shit. Would you stop? Would you not release it?
I don't know.
It's quite a weird hypothetical, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's a deep question, bro. I think I'd quit.
If Rick Rubin told you one song was shit...
No,
we get a follow on TikTok from Rick Rubin.
From his burner.
Just for him to tell us you guys shouldn't release Go.
Yeah,
everything else is fine, just don't release Go. Would you not release it?
No, I'd obviously still release it.
Still release it. I mean, it's already up.
No, okay, what if Rick Rubin says, if you release Go, I'll never speak to you again?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I want to help you with your music. I want to help. I'll give you anything you need to help get this off the ground, but you just can't release Go.
No.
You wouldn't do it. Man, I'm binning Go expeditiously. If it was completely up to me, I'd be like, right, well, the long tail advantage of having Rick Rubin in your corner is way more than the potential of like just this one tune.
We don't,
obviously, hypothetically.
We don't need to... suddenly then you... I don't know, if you welcome something like that, suddenly everything gets built in that image. It's like you're part of Rick Rubin's thing. Or when a rapper co-signs someone, suddenly it's like, oh, they're related to that person. Do you know what I mean? It happens all the time, and it's rare for people to outgrow it. I think Kanye is like the only example I can think of someone who ended up debatably becoming bigger than their mentor.
Who is
Jay-Z?
Yeah, I would argue so.
But that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
wouldn't we rather just do your own thing rather than being like, let's try and fit into Rick Rubin's mold because he did all this cool stuff?
Yeah, but if he did DM you, be like, don't release it, you'd be like, fuck you, Rick, I'm releasing it. And then he'd probably respect you more.
We just use it. We just use it as
promo.
marketing.
Yeah,
it'd be like
Rick
leak
Rubin
his
doesn't
DMs.
want us to release this, and then he just comments, "It's not because I'm scared. It's because it's shit.
It's because it's really bad, and you'll see."
I mean, you're not a threat.
I was trying to do you a favor,
Yeah,
guys.
exactly.
So how do you guys feel with the fact that Go is coming out in, as of time of recording, 4 days?
Yeah, good.
Excited, man. Very, very excited. It feels like a big, like, seminal moment for the Phantom journey that the first, like, tune is coming out. I think the floodgates are going to open after this. And I think we're going to have a bit of a shift. You know how when we were going through this process, there were, like, several stages in the journey where it's like, okay, cool. Now that this has happened, it's like, okay, it feels a bit more tangible and a bit more real. Like, for example, when we started going on the lives, or when we actually started filming some curated content that was going out, this just feels like, okay, cool, it's another step in the direction of the whole journey unfolding the way it should be. And I think, you know, in a few years' time, or even in a few months' time, we'll probably look back and be like, 30th of Jan 2026 was like a really important day for us in this process.
Yeah.
I think so too, yeah.
Anything else, like, do you feel...
No, I'm really just excited, less for Go specifically as a single, but more just that it's marking the time of us releasing our music and like the stopwatch starts. It's always what I wanted. And now that starts, we've got the process in. We then the first one's not going to be astronomical, I assume, but it's our way of introducing. And I think that's why we went with Go as well. Someone asked us on the live yesterday about Go. They said curious as to why Go was your first choice for first release, and I think for us we've been sitting on that song for a long time, and personally I think our music's moved on so much from then as well. 100%. Go is still really good, I think, but it's very sparse, very minimal. We've got stuff now which is just like crazy, and I think we've got that as the North Star. We've got Go here, and then it's just in between.
You're closing the gap.
Yeah, exactly.
When you say the stuff you have now is way different, how is it different? Because you obviously Go is sparse and minimal, like you said, but where's the difference? Is it the sound that you were capturing at the time, or is it kind of specific production stuff that you're doing, or lyrical choices that you're making that actually leads to a song sounding different?
the thing is that the Phantom sound, you can kind of draw a line through all the songs. Like there is like congruency amongst all the music. There is a sonic landscape to it. There is a lyrical landscape to it, which is quite similar. But it's undeniable that Go is just a song that we made ages ago. And to think over the past decade of doing music, obviously what we're making now is going to be like a sharper version of Phantom, like a more well-rounded, like a more honed version of it. Whereas I think Go is still like quite raw, almost. Like the production is, I mean, the production's sick, but
Raw enormous.
nice. You're like 4'4".
Distortion.
The lyrically it's quite raw. Like for me, it's quite simplistic compared to some of the stuff that I'm writing now. And when I say simplistic, not in the sense that the songs that we're writing now are so verbose and dense and like really like lyrical, because we've got songs now that are, I would say, quite simple from a lyrical perspective. But that's like a choice.
Yeah.
Whereas I just think like I've developed as a writer, and
Yeah,
I
for
probably
sure.
wouldn't say some of the stuff that I said on Go now, but that's kind of the point. Like I think the reason why we wanted to go with Go as the first single is because it captured the Phantom energy at the inception of it. It's like Go
true, yeah.
Go is like how Phantom sounded at the start of Phantom, which is why I think it makes so much sense for it to be the single, because it's like this is actually the inception of this sound and this group and, you know, Mayfly's production, my writing. And it's it's like a marker for the way that we're gonna grow.
Yeah.
And I think when we were talking about it, like songs, singles, projects, how do we want to be perceived? A lot of people would say, okay, let's drop your hardest song first. But I actually think from a journey perspective, especially with people investing in it and buying into the sound of Phantom, it's nice to see the progress and the journey. And it's quite nice. I mean, obviously we love the song, but I don't think it's like my favorite song. I don't think it's our best song, but I think it's a really appropriate introduction, to what's to come. Not only because of the content of the song, like Go as a concept is quite like a starting point. It's like a green light, but also because of everything we've said, like when we were writing it, when we recorded it, when we
Do you guys
produced
regret anything with the release of Go? As in, obviously this was written, I don't know how many years ago, 8 years ago or something. Do you regret not just dropping it at the time and having it capture that moment in time and having it be released then? Because obviously now your sound has changed so much has developed over those past 8 years or whatever. Do you think it would have resonated more coming out at the time that it was made versus now, or do you have any regrets about how it's unfolded?
I think that what grade means is more specific to us rather than the climate at the time. That Go is very like representative, or even a lot of those songs which I'm looking at now, like Icarus, Go, Lament, Dark Water, they all fit together very nicely, and it was just how our headspaces were at the time. We were completely different people. We prioritized different things. We spent more time together. We did more crazy stuff.
Did you spend more time together back then than now?
I think we did days and days in the studio together, and waking up early and smashing out work all day, and then going to sleep at like 5 a.m, and then getting up and doing the same again, which now we don't do. We're much more sensible. We treat it much more like there's a bit more rigidity. Whereas I think back then, it will always hold a special place, and why I wanted to still release them, because that was those tunes where we first really honed the sound or the craft. You know, we made tons of songs before that, but they were all shit. So Go was like the first one where it's like, okay, sick. And I think there's a certain element for me personally of wanting to emulate, even if it's not completely accurate, emulate our journey in microcosm with the releases, and not just go, okay, here we go is hard, or tell me I'm wrong, whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which we played yesterday. Everyone's like, oh, this is my new favorite. Doesn't mean that we then go, okay, well, maybe this one should come first.
Yeah.
You know, if anything, I think Go feels like a little bit of like a soft introduction, like a bit of like a, let's get our Spotify profile up. We've got a thing people can latch on to now. Like, I didn't want that to be our best song.
Yeah.
You know, personally.
And I think there would be a really, like, it would be a terrible indictment on us as artists if our best song is the first song we drop and it's the song that we recorded the longest time ago, because it means like
Over time you've just gotten worse.
Exactly. And how does that make sense?
But don't you think it's interesting that it's like, quote unquote, worse, but actually it's just different? Because some people would hear Go and think that it's your hardest tune, but because you guys are so close to it and you've been so close to it for so many years, I think you're just like bored of it. It doesn't have that freshness. It doesn't have that like unique energy that you can feel, for example, playing one of these new beats and spitting some new bars to it. You're like, oh, this has like a freshness to it.
Yeah.
Go is almost like, you've heard it, honestly, I've heard Go genuinely maybe 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So in my head,
You're too close to it.
I'm like, oh, okay, I've heard this.
Yeah.
I want something fresh, I want something new. But to people who haven't heard any Phantom stuff before, this is all exciting and new to them.
Yeah, I think there's two points there. One being, I know you can't say it objectively, but I reckon if we did a poll, more people would pick 33 or Vlad or anything over Go. So I do personally think that the inherent quality of that song is not as good as some of our later songs. But I see what you're saying. But I think, to your point earlier on, like leveling up and the songwriting linked to what you're just saying there, I think that the difference between Go and where I've progressed as a producer and what's changed things a bit is making things which are higher energy and faster and things which can translate everywhere. Like, I always said that what I loved about hip hop was it's the genre which you can play in any setting. You could, when you're chilling in the morning, in the club, whatever. And I was kind of thinking about that. Go doesn't have that quality to it, I don't think. But some of our later stuff really does, you know? And I quite like I think there's often been times where I play you a beat and you're like, this is way too quick. And I'm like, nah, do it.
Yeah,
Trust me, do it. And then when we do it, like fucking Witch or whatever, you just bar off for 3 minutes. It's like one of the hardest things ever, you know? And like, I don't think we would have had a song like that on a beat like Dark Water or the original Icarus or Go, or it just causes you to become a bit more introspective and a bit more of quite a bit more conscious almost, and less like, we love bangers, innit? We love like stuff which can translate and stuff which is quality, but will do well, hopefully, in the charts or in the club or on the radio, you know?
So you guys don't have any regrets around releasing Go as the first single? Quite the opposite, in fact. Like, it is a marker, and even though
we could still change it now,
the consensus is like, it's not the best song, it's definitely the best one to just release. And I guess in any case, one song has to be the first song. Like, no matter which way you spin it, there's going to have to be the first one. And so it makes sense that it's Go, given the context of all of the projects and the sound and how it's progressed over time.
Yeah.
Basically.
For me, again, like whenever we talk about the way that we're planning Phantom or the way that we're trying to execute what is this process of, you know, becoming musicians, releasing songs, putting together a marketing plan for it, whenever we talk about this, I'm always coming from the angle of, okay, let's fast forward 5-10 years, or let's fast forward and then reverse engineer how to get there. So when I'm looking at what do I want for myself and for like you guys as this legacy of Phantom, how does that, if the goal is legacy, what's the journey to get there? And that's why I'm very keen on us having curated projects that sound good rather than focusing on singles. That's why when we're talking about doing like a double EP or like a full-length studio album, you kind of think, okay, what kind of mark is this going to leave on our story? So when I'm thinking, okay, cool, 10 years time, what are people going to think? I would like the beginning of it to be well considered, which is why something like Go, it just literally seems like the perfect introduction to everything that we want to be sonically, an upward trajectory, which is the way I'm looking at it, and still like conceptually from a lyrical perspective and what the song means, it just seems perfect. Plus, it was one of our oldest songs. So no, there's no real regret in terms of this being the single, and it kind of has to be now because on other tracks I've said the click been lit with the hit since Geo. So it's like I've said it now.
Yeah, so it has
Go
to be the
Go
first
has
one.
to be the first one because it's been immortalized in another song. And earlier we were talking about, oh, you know, we don't think that Go is as good as some of our newer stuff, and you said maybe other people would think actually it's good. When you're in the process of creating, you only absorb the song as a product that you've put out. You don't enjoy the song as a song until...
What do you mean?
So we produce it and we're listening to Go in Ableton, or we're listening to like 3-4 versions on a master, and it's very much from the perspective of, okay, we are making this song.
Like from a technical perspective.
Yeah,
you're listening
we're
to like
back end.
specific sounds and saying, is this too loud, is this too quiet, rather than experiencing the song as a piece of art.
Exactly,
Yeah, okay.
as a song. But the times we get to experience it are like when somebody sends us a snap of them listening to the stream, being like, this tune's hard. And then you're watching it now as a consumer rather than the creator. And when you consume
the
it,
kick, I can't see the snare, I can't see when your vocal is going to come in. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
But as a producer, especially, at like, there's like a bit of a meme, but at like festivals or concerts or whatever, it's like the producer doesn't have fun. He just sits like, he's like, how did he make that frequency?
Yeah, how did that happen? How
You know
did he
what I
make
mean?
that sound?
Sorry, I cut you off there.
no, it's all good. So when you get the opportunity to consume it rather than analyze it, I do think that it's a fucking really good song. And even when we were listening to the masters earlier, like last night, I was feeling it like, okay, how is this going to be perceived? Like, I'm enjoying this as a listener rather than the guy who's written it or the guy who's produced it. We're a bit separate from it now. So I feel like, yeah, cool. In a few years' time, I'll go back and I'll probably still think, oh yeah, Dark Water is my favorite or whatever is my favorite. But all of the songs are equally good. They have their own merit, and it just depends on the moment. You know, songs have moments and connect with you in different ways at different times.
Interestingly, and I think quite poignantly, Gabriella has asked, have you ever cut a line you loved because it didn't serve the song? And I think kind of relevant to that, cutting the line from Go.
Yeah.
Do you
So
want to unpack that a little bit?
yeah, for sure. So again, thinking back, like Go was written quite a long time ago.
Oh, Jay Clark.
Yeah. And at the time when it was written, I put in a line about Artillery Jay Clark on the beat. So Jay Clark, Justin Clark is Gets. He had a song called Artillery. This was in the rap song time when grime had this resurgence, and I was, Gets, regardless of what's happened recently with the car crash thing, which is obviously like really, really peak, lyrically and the songs he were putting out, they were basic, but it just felt a little bit insensitive to keep something like that on the track.
I mean, it's just pointless.
Yeah,
It
and then
almost
we
feels
switched it
like
out.
you've written it. Now any references to him are going to be, unfortunately, based off his unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
I think, no one's going to reference his bars or pay homage to his sound. It's going to be about a hit and run, unfortunately.
Yeah, so it's just like bad timing, basically.
I think so.
Had it come out like 2 months ago, it would
I mean, it's minor. No one would have even clocked. But
Yeah, I don't think it makes
we're
a difference.
respectful people, and
Yeah.
just like you and I will sit there, and if we don't like one of Grade's bars, we'll just tell him, and Grade will delete it.
Yeah, we were literally talking about this on one of the tracks yesterday.
Literally last night.
Yeah.
And when it comes to like curating songs from both the production perspective and from the lyrical perspective, okay, let's say we made a beat. Mayfly makes a beat like 6 months ago. At the time when you hear it, it's very raw and you take it for what it is, which is like something new. But then after 6 months and we've been working on it, you can no longer consider it as, okay, this is just a new beat. Like it's okay if it's a bit rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Now it's like, nah, this has to change. So from day one till now, even though we've heard the same thing, our expectations of what it needs to sound like are different. So I'm quite happy to take a line which at the time we just put in because it rhymed nicely, or it was a good filler, or I wasn't in the headspace to really drill down into the track. But when you're going to release something, you're going to put it on a project. Okay, now we're going to get forensic with it. Now we're going to make sure that a song which could be a 7 out of 10 with the level of effort that we've put in, we bump it up to an 8, a 9, a 10 out of 10 by really dissecting the lines and saying, actually, this song, this line is just filler, and it's not really bringing anything to the song.
Do you think that mentality has like resulted in you guys not releasing songs because there's almost this sense of being too forensic and spending too much time focusing on it and thinking like, okay, because in the case of Go, we've been with it for so many years, it needs to hit a certain level, so we're going to keep iterating on it, keep iterating it, tweaking it until it becomes something that you have to just let go of? Do you think that like going through all of the beats and songs with a fine-tooth comb serves you, or does it mean that you actually end up not releasing things, or it's slower in the process of releasing?
I don't want it to be twisted. Like, we don't write a song and then for 6 months like forensically go over it, and like we're very quick, and like that conversation yesterday was one conversation that we'll ever have on it, and that's it. Like we said what, and then next time you come, the bar will be different, I'm sure, and then it's going to be sorted. But I don't regret it at all, because we are, first of all, we are perfectionists, and we used our time for the past however long to just really hone our craft and get as good at it as possible. And with everything that's happened in our lives, there wasn't a good time. We could have released it, but it would have been go time at a time we weren't ready.
It would have been ready to carry it on.
We would have been felt this pressure and like, fuck, and then we got to do this. And whereas how it's happened has just meant that we've got all this wealth of experience and knowledge and mistakes we've made, but we haven't even released a song yet. So now it's like we've got this catalog we can just hit people with, while also nurturing new songs at the same time, you know?
There's runway for momentum and consistency now, whereas before, if we had just dropped, I don't think we would have had the same like opportunity to be consistent and to ride the momentum and to give people what they want. Because once somebody's invested in this thing, the last thing we want to do for our fans is to get people excited, to hype them up, to get people to buy into Phantom as a concept, and then to almost let them down because we drop Go and then we disappear off the face of the earth for a year.
Yeah, for like 6 months before you release
Do you know what I mean?
The second single,
Exactly.
which then you, and then after that it's like, okay, when's the actual project going to come out? And then it's like start stepping, but rather release something and then there's going to be the snowball effect of having all that momentum, having all those songs ready to go.
100%. And then there was one other thing I wanted to say about how, you know, getting too forensic with a song can prevent you from releasing it. My issue, I don't want to speak for you guys, but my issue is creating your best art and releasing your best art are like two different things. So when it comes to creating something, if we want it to be the best, then we sit there and we work on it and we hear it and we change it and we tweak it and modulate it to the point where it's like, okay, we have squeezed every possible drop of juice out of this song. But releasing it, it's like the opposite of that. Actually, the less involved you are with the creative process, the better, because we could make a song and we could just let it go like that. But that's going to compromise maybe the overall quality, but our ability to get songs out would be better. And when, again, earlier we were talking about, okay, looking to the future and then reverse engineering, what's more important for me long term with legacy is that we don't ever release a song where we hear it back and we're like, fuck, man, I wish we did change that line. Or I wish actually we spent I wish we delayed the release by a month and changed the production, because now when I hear it, it feels like we didn't give it our best. Releasing versus creating, they don't always, it's like pulling a rope from either side.
Yeah, but playing devil's advocate, I would argue that there are quite a few people who would say you should just release everything as quick as possible.
That's
and
fine.
obviously we're doing that now, but you know, a few years ago, once I don't know, there are 10 tracks ready, quote unquote ready, let's say, people would just be like, just release it, just get it out and build that momentum, and having that exposure is better than not having it. And that's kind of, in this day and age, the way to go about things is to just consistently release things, aim for that like viral single, try to conform it to social media. And I think I personally, I think I kind of sit in between. I don't think it would have made sense to release any of these tracks a few years ago, just because it wasn't ready. There was no momentum there. We wouldn't be able to capitalize on any success if there was success there. But at the same time, I do think my default is like, let's get it out.
Yeah.
So I wonder how you view that specifically. Is there anything there where it's like, oh, we should have just fucking released it all?
I mean, I think that we have a best of both worlds here.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't meant we've deleted all the old tracks or not want to work on them. It just means we've delayed it to a point where it's all going to come out. And it's going to, if anything, be what you were saying. This crazy, like, string of things. Whereas, if we had have released Go when we made it, we would have been like, right, okay, fuck, we've got to get
now we have to make the next
And that was
banger.
at a time where we were both really enjoying our jobs as well. And, like, music was firmly a plan B for me, you know, and for you as well. And now I think over time and quality of music and co-signs from, or not co-signs, but just people who've loved the music and joined along, I think it's meant that we've got it to a point where it is like, we do have that. We do have like a big release schedule ahead of us. And I think you can look at it the other way around. A good example of someone who has built up all the hype and just been releasing for years and just with no quality control is Fake Mink. And using you as an example, you're not a Fake Mink fan at all. I played you some of this. I like some Fake Mink songs. I like him conceptually. I like him as a producer. I like him as a songwriter for sure. But the music, some of it is unlistenable because it's just so badly mixed and because he obviously just put it out with no help or no training, which is fine and that's good for him.
Yeah.
But I personally wouldn't want a Spotify of 100, 200 songs with just some which are just filler, just space, basically.
Yeah.
That's just my personal thing.
Yeah.
Again,
agree.
it's like, how do you want to be looked back upon? Like, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to think of when they think of Phantom? Like, our goal for this year is to get 21 tracks out, like over 2026. Yeah, something along those lines is kind of where I'm at, and that's in the form of 3 projects. Now, if we had just started dropping without really putting too much thought into it or not finessing songs, we would not have 21 tracks over the space of a year. We would have dribbed and drabbed a few little tracks out here and there. And I think actually the power of taking over in 1 year, and like 2026 being like the year of the Phantom, I think it's going to carry so much more weight for us going forward versus, yeah, cool, we could have dropped Go a few years back. Yeah, cool, we could have dropped a version of Dark Water, which maybe hasn't been like finessed as nicely as it is, but it's still out and people don't know the difference.
That's what I'm saying.
Like people consuming it wouldn't really know that we've put this much effort into this, or actually we had a version from 8 years ago, or that the Icarus beat has changed, or that we've reordered the project. These are only things that we know. So when it's consumed by the consumer, they don't know better. They have nothing to compare it to.
Also, we've not spent 8 years working on Go. We
No,
made
no,
it.
it was made
and then 8 years later, we changed the J Clark beat.
Yeah.
J Clark bar.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I haven't done anything to the prod. You haven't done anything else to the bars.
Yeah.
So, in terms of it, like, we still preserved that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And I think it still works as a Sonic in this day and age.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's gonna be like, oh, this sounds like it's from 2000.
No, and I think that's actually a massive positive, is that you can listen to a song which you've made however many years ago for the first time and think, oh, it actually still sounds like relevant today. The sounds still like thump, all of the bars still go hard.
Yeah, well, that's because we never jumped on a trend.
Yeah, so was going to lead me to the next thing. Would you say you guys have tried to emulate any sounds or trends or tried to jump on any waves throughout your career making music together? Like when you made Go, were you trying to jump on, like, I mean, in the beat breakdown and the lyric breakdown, specifically lyric breakdown actually, you do mention some trends going on at the time you were writing the bars, but I don't think you were jumping on a sound or like a wave of how music was sounding back then. So yeah, anything to
I think
add
any
to that?
sound that we go with or any sort of Sonic that we dive into we don't try and jump on a wave. It's more like we just like that sound. Like a lot of my production now that I'm starting to do it's like trap obviously, and like just traditional sort of a lot of like drill influences, but a big thing which I'm really enjoying putting in is a lot of the Detroit sounds and like the bubbly basses and the lasers and the constant. That's not because I want Gray to become a Detroit rapper.
Yeah.
It's just because I think it sounds good. And I'll put that in alongside drill elements or garage elements. That's what producing is. Like, I produce all kinds of music. It doesn't need to be bound to one thing, you know? And I don't think ever we've been like, wow, let's try and make something like that. I don't think ever that's happened.
Yeah, you haven't heard a song and go like, oh, let's try to jump on this wave quickly and get something out and like emulate this sound of the moment, rather, oh, I like this aspect from it. Let's take that, put it in our arsenal, and now whenever we make a song, we can pull on elements of these trends, but it still has this unique phantom sound to it.
Definitely.
If anything, it's almost the opposite of jumping on trends. I think when we started making music, and even to this day, we don't really love everything that's out there. And like in Go in particular, I say when I get bored of your shit, I come and record. And that's because of how it feels. It's like, I'm not super in love with everything in the musical landscape now and back then. And the music...
Now more so even.
Yeah, for sure, now more so. And the music that we make is what I enjoy. So it was never like, we're going to jump on this trend at this time. I actually never really connected with a lot of the kind of trends and the waves that were going on. And by, again, just doing what we think is best creatively, being the truest versions of ourselves from the artistic perspective, I think that's what connects with people. It's that authenticity. People want something which they can latch onto as something that's real. They know that what they're going to get from us, from Phantom, is going to be like, it's going to be authentic. Well, it's going to be undeniably me and Mayfly.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be, it sounds like they're just trying to do this. And that's going to alienate some people. AI stuff, TikTok trends, these come and go. Like, we're trying to build like a foundation. Like I said, again, I keep saying this word, but like legacy, bro. That's what it's about.
Interestingly, when you made, like when Go was first made, TikTok wasn't even a thing. So you couldn't have even like jumped on a trend you couldn't have made a song that would, let's make this with the goal of it blowing up on TikTok or having people do like a dance or some, I don't know, bullshit trend.
The music has always been for music's sake.
Yeah.
Not for anything else. Not for anyone else.
Yeah.
We were getting mash up back in the day making those tunes. And it was the most fun ever.
Yeah.
Like, it was good times. We just enjoyed, like on your birthday, we just went back after your birthday. We were mashed and we just stayed up till 6 and made Car Keys, that random song. It wasn't because we were like, God, we need to make some money from this music.
Sorry, this is a good story. We were on a tube coming home from like a party, like a night out for my birthday, and me and Mayfly were heading back to the studio because I just was itching to get in the studio. Like, what I wanted to do on my birthday was cook up, get creative. And we're on the tube back. And interesting, because we're talking about trends, there was a lot of like guitar stuff going into hip hop at the time, and I was like, Mayfly, it'd be really cool if we tried to get a little guitar going, because I'm like, maybe we're lacking some of that instrumentation in what we're doing. We go home, we find that sample, produce that beat. It's got the little guitar-y kind of sound to it. The beat was called Grade on a B-Day Wave because it was literally my birthday. And maybe that tune won't ever come out, but that's what we were just fucking into the music.
I can remember that session so clearly still, even though that's not a song. I can't remember us making Go, for example.
Yeah, not as clearly anyway.
Yeah.
I guess that story really does cement that you weren't doing it for anything else other than yourselves, and even everything we've discussed.
We still aren't.
Because you haven't, like, if you were doing it for external praise or validation or for money or whatever, you would have released all of these songs immediately. You wouldn't have given a shit. You would have just, like, anything that you make, you drop. But the fact that I know you have like hundreds of songs that will never see the light of day proves that you are doing it just for yourselves. And there are so many songs that you have that are just for you to consume, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's like, there is a point there where it's clear that it's not for anything else other than your enjoyment.
And like, honestly, the way that, I'm going to be real honest, the way that the lives have happened and with our fans and stuff, I don't know if Go would be coming out this month if we hadn't have gone on live and had demand for it.
Yeah.
Like same as the merch. Sometimes I'm like, boys, it's quite early for merch and stuff, but people are literally asking us, like, we want to buy merch, make merch.
Yeah, we want to buy that
We
hat in the
want it,
background.
and it's
I
like,
want a
oh,
t-shirt.
sick. Okay, so there's actually something people actually care, you
Yeah.
know, and people. I think the moment you start making art for anything else other than what pours out of you, or for art's sake or expression, it's like indescribable, but you can just tell. You just know.
Yeah.
Like that energy that's poured into it, that energy is also like, what's the word? Perceivable.
Yeah.
You know?
You can feel it. Like
Yeah.
it's inauthentic. Essentially.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sick.
And which is why, you know, when you asked how do we feel about Go coming out, and I was saying that, you know, I think this is a really important moment in the journey. It's just one step, like a big step, and the big reason why Go is coming out is, like Mayfly said, is because we've now put ourselves out into the world and we've been doing these lives and we've been getting the feedback. So yes, it's good to have some kind of plan, but I think it's good to be able to kind of be a little bit flexible with it here and there. Go with the kind of surrender to the process, and Go will come out, a bit of Pill will come out, and even though I've said, okay, cool, we want to drop this, you know, we want to do this like double EP later in the year, who knows what's going to happen from, like, let's say March to summertime, and maybe we have to pivot slightly, but you know, we have our overall ideas, and then we surrender to the flow of the way the world is and the universe.
Yeah, I mean, we've got such an amazing tool at our fingertips, which I hate to call it a tool because it feels like a lot more than that. But TikTok is just so perfect because it means we've got people who, like someone said before, it's like digital busking. We've created this little community of people where we can preview stuff and work out what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
There are certain tunes we play less or fewer times now on the live because we didn't get a reaction at all from them, for example.
Yeah, like the reception is maybe not what you're expecting. Then you drop one thing, and you're like, oh damn, everybody's fucking with this sound.
Exactly.
And then that kind of. So again, do you not wish that perhaps that kind of real feedback from people external to the creation of it? Do you not wish you got more of that earlier on in the process? Do you not think that would have been perhaps beneficial to have somebody come in and say, look, obviously what you're doing is sick and you're going to carry on, but this one I don't like and this one I do like. And having that like en masse, I guess with TikTok is very easy because we get hundreds of people coming in and out, and they'll hear one thing and be like, yeah, I fuck with this. And they have no vested interest, so they can just be as honest as possible and just be like, I rate this or I don't rate this. Do you not wish you had that kind of, some of that feedback earlier in the process?
It's very easy to say that. The reality is, of course, having hundreds of people listen to your song and then tell you if they like it or not is useful. But we just didn't have that. So, you know, to say, okay, would you have liked that? Of course, I would have loved for us to have exactly everything we have now in this phantom sphere, with the amount of people that are connecting with us online, the quality of our level, all the finance that we have behind us as well. If we had that 5 years ago and we were in exactly the same position, of course, amazing.
Yeah.
But that's not the reality. And I think this ties on quite nicely to a question that Vix asked about how do you discern what's true feedback and not just people who are kind of fanboying or fangirling, being like, yeah, this is sick. And you kind of don't know. Like, I do value, you know, if I was to rank whose opinion I value the most when it comes to our music, number one is Mayfly, probably number two is you, because we're the closest to it and you know what we've been through to get here. And then the people in our close circle, the regulars, like, these are the levels that come down. If some random person joins the live and is like, yeah, this is wank, I don't fucking care what they say.
Do you know what a good comparison is? You know, you got the fat old bloke who's sitting next to you at the football, and he's like, oh, can't fucking get up. You gotta fucking get past him, do you know what I mean? And like telling, oh, I could fucking finish that.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
you don't even really know how the game works. You've never been in the dressing room. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Like, we know more than anyone else what works for us and what got us to this point. People say, like, we laugh about it on the live, but people give us feedback on the live and they say, oh, Grace, you've really improved.
Yeah.
And we want to say, bruv,
You don't know
it's
anything.
been so long. It's been so
yeah.
long. And I think,
That's so jokes.
I think that if we have been younger when TikTok first started and done exactly the same thing, I think it would have fucked our trajectory.
Yeah, I think perhaps you would have been making songs to please people on a live.
I think we would have taken every comment to heart. It would have been one person said let me talk specifically about myself. If one person had said, "Oh, go, that's some shit," I would have been disheartened. I would have stopped. Whereas it got to a point where this year, especially, we were making some tunes where we were like, "Fucking hell, these are actually sick!" Like, here we go. Like, that's for me the first one where it was like, okay, proper level up again. You know, I don't think we'd ever got to that point. We got there naturally, so I wouldn't change anything now. So why look back with any negative feeling towards it?
Yeah. So how would you discern then, to your point, like how would you discern feedback on like a live, or what metrics would you use to discern like their proximity to us, how long they've been listening to us, or like their credentials? So for example, like some of the producers that join our live and then they're like, "Oh, Mayfly, this production is sick," whatever. You take their opinion on the music with a bit more weight because they have experience, right?
Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily even say that I think like that, or that I'm like, "Oh yeah, they said it." Like, unless it was like a famous fucking
Rick Rubin.
Unless it was Rick Rubin, yeah. But I think it's more the most important thing in life in general, I think, is recognizing patterns and recognizing consistencies and like things that come up again and again, and remembering those things. I think we're very good at if 4 people on the live yesterday said the same thing about one of the tracks, that's going to do something in our head. I think it's more about the volume of it, rather than the value of the opinion.
That's such a good point, because it does validate things a bit more. Like, for example, we performed that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 track yesterday. We obviously all like it, but the fact that 3, 4, 5 individuals said, "Yeah, this one, okay, cool," that adds some weight.
Yeah.
So not only is it about the corroboration from multiple sources, which I think is useful, but also the depth of the feedback.
Yeah.
Like, somebody can say something in one sentence and say, "Yeah, this song is good," or somebody can, like, someone who I really value in this process is Vix.
Yeah.
Because when Vix listens to something, he will take the time, he'll listen to it a few times, he'll come back to you and he would have written something out where it's like,
Damn.
you know, going into detail on specific parts of the song or the overall vibe. And yeah, okay, the overall message might be the same, this song is good, but when someone's taken that time and effort to really dissect something and
Specifics.
and put clear energy into it to give back to you, I value that a lot. Vix has no musical background. He's not a producer. He was with us in Rhapsody. He wrote a few bars here and there. He's a fan of music.
Yeah.
He loves music, and you can tell that when he gives feedback. So that is one thing. One individual who goes into detail and you can tell has really put time into this. I value that loads. When multiple people are saying the same thing, that's pattern recognition, like Mayfly said, and I value that too. But again, sometimes you do have to go with your gut a little bit, and I think there were musical moments, or there were songs where even we, being a bit too close to it, thought, actually, maybe this isn't, I don't know, is this right? Is this not
Do you
right?
have any examples?
I mean, up until recently, I don't know how much we were in love with some of the ABP stuff. It felt like we got a little bit disillusioned with it.
Yeah.
It had been too long. You step back, then you get re-energized about it because a few people start saying, "Oh yeah, actually this is sick."
Yeah.
Then you come back and you're like, "Yeah, cool." Or some people just weren't fucking with specific tracks or the sonics of the production. I mean, I've heard some beats sometimes where I'm like, "Nah, this is a bit too booky." First listen, and that's my instant reaction. But then you give it some time. I put my faith in Mayfly. I put my faith in what you say as well. And then, okay, yeah, I come back to it.
Even sometimes on the lives when some of our fans will be like, "Whoa, this beat is sick," and then suddenly that makes you start to rethink as well.
Like,
It's
maybe
okay,
it is sick.
let me have a look from a different angle.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's weird how music works. Like, it's that Pop Star in the Bits, the Young E-Man song, which we talked about on here before, where at first I fucking hated it, and now I love it. And it's not even that much time, you know? It's just a bit of like, sometimes it's context, sometimes it's, what's the word? Just taking it in.
Yeah,
and
really actually sitting with the music,
yeah.
as opposed to just like passively consuming, like actively consuming the music.
Yeah.
Do you think that affects how people listen to like the Phantom stuff so far? Because they're actively consuming it, like on our lives. They're coming to the live. They're actively requesting songs. They're, you know, really engaging with it rather than just passively hearing it on a Spotify playlist. Do you think that affects how people are interpreting the music or their relationship with the Phantom sound so far?
I mean, I think that's a really good question. In terms of our current support, again, because we don't have a song out, the only way that you can hear Phantom right now is by being active and coming to a live and hearing it performed. So actually, these are the only people who are consuming our music right now. I value those people, and their engagement with it is good, is positive, and it's useful for us. We talked about this previously, where a recorded version might not hit the same way for those people, but then you'll have, you say, active listeners and maybe people who are just going to stumble across us on a Spotify playlist. The way they consume it is equally valid and as important, because the majority, I mean, the goal really is that eventually loads and loads of people are going to listen to our music, right? Doesn't matter how many people we get in a live. Like at one point, I think our highest, we had like 350 whatever people in a live at once. But if a song has got 1 million plays, the overwhelming majority of people are listening to it, quote unquote, passively, right? So what is right, what is wrong? There is no right and wrong. From a forensic level, as like a lover of music, if I want to review an album and I want to sit there and I want to put my headphones in, I want to be locked in a room on my own, cool, I'm actively listening to it. But if I'm out on a run or I'm at the gym or I'm driving around and it's just there as background noise, I'm passive. But I'm the same person. The way you engage with things is always going to be on an individual basis. It depends on the time and the place. But you're right, though. I do think the fact that people are coming and they're actively requesting it and they can only hear it at the specific time, it gives a bit more excitement to what's going on. It's like you always want what you can't have. If Go is out and you can hear it whenever you want, you might not want to hear it. But if you know you can only hear it Wednesdays and Sundays,
7 to 9
UK time, then it's like, oh, it's exciting. I hope they do the song. I hope Mayfly puts on Vlad so that Grade can do the mango tune on it.
Marie's like, where the fuck? Oh,
I can't believe I missed it.
To your point as well, shout out Amy Lee yesterday, who for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we played that once. It's the tune we were talking about. She bare loved it. She was asking for it a lot again and again, and she wanted to screen record it and post it to her own socials. You know, that's sick.
Mad. It is absolutely insane. And I think wrapping up with a final question from Adela: would you rather always work on new projects or improve existing ones?
If I could choose, it would be new projects, obviously, because that, especially as a producer, because my job, when Grade's finished recording, his job's done. He can walk away then. For me, that's when it just starts.
Yeah, it's just
that's when the boring bit starts. Like I've made an amazing. I've made a beat, and
they are amazing.
Thank you. Layth?
Yeah, pretty good. pretty good.
I've made a beat. I've had so much fun making it, and like, just, you know me, like I just listen to that on loop over and over. If one of our clips goes on and it's one of my beats, I'll just listen to it like this for like 20 minutes and just hear the little bits which have changed. I'm quite good now at not sitting on stuff for too long and just making the beat, and then the beat's done and then it's over to Grade. Not as precious. But to Adela's question, that final 1% even, I was going to say 10%, but that final 1% is the hardest and the most finicky and technical and tedious, and then there's all these processes. I still love it and it's still great, but I think that's partially why I especially am so excited for Go to come out. I mean, you are as well, but from a production point of view, it's like, that's been mastered. We know the process now. Like, that's the first time I've got something mastered externally. Before, everything else has just been like, okay, I'm just going to max out the levels on this and whatever. So,
Go is the first one where we've gone start to finish on a track. Like, it's the first.
There are a lot of firsts that have been checked off. Like the first time we got it mixed like this way and mastered by whatever, and then actually releasing on Spotify and doing a release for it, and like it's a lot of firsts.
Just to come back to the question and to talk about me and Mayfly's relationship a little bit more, I always think we're very yin and yang. We're very balanced. Like, and we've talked about this before. Mayfly is like detail oriented. He will make the tune sick and he'll go back and he'll like continue to flex on something, or he'll make a new track and it's like, cool, I'm going to continue to get things out there. I see myself as a bit more of like the bigger picture when it comes to, you know, getting songs done. So for me, I want to be working on the song that we've already made because I want that song to be finished.
Yeah.
And my involvement in the process, like Mayfly said, it's like, okay, cool, I've written it, I've recorded it, now what? I still want to be involved in like, okay, let's listen back, let's do the dropouts, let me contribute to the overall production element. That's the only way I can do it. So for me, I really do want to be working on the existing tracks and just getting them done because of how I look at it. But also, Mayfly's got the laptop.
Yeah.
You can listen to it whenever you want to.
Yeah.
I don't.
Blessing and a curse.
And if
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want,
it's
if I
true.
want the songs,
Absolutely.
and I want to consume them as like a fan of our own music, I need the bounce.
Yeah.
I need it to be MP3 saved on
need
my
it to
phone
be
so that I
finished,
can hear it.
basically. Yeah.
And to get to that point, I rely on us kind of finishing things off a little bit more. So I'm always going to be like, let's finesse that track. I want the bounce. I want the MP3. But it's good that Mayfly sees it the other way as well, because it means that the train keeps on moving. Yeah. We've got new songs to work on. I can come in and help finesse the old songs. There's always a new song on the horizon. And every time Mayfly makes a new beat, there's pressure on me now to write some new bars.
Yeah, that's right. I love doing that. I'm like, where's the bars, bro?
Yeah, come on,
bro.
Like, I think what Grade's saying is absolutely spot on, and I think over time we've both like lent into each other a little bit on that as well. We were like much further away on
The
with
spectrum
that
of that,
ideal. Yeah, exactly. And I think there's certain things like I was talking to a mix engineer recently, and he was like telling us about workflow stuff, and he was like, you should put all your instruments into this. It's a long jargon thing, but it's basically so you can map out the MIDI rather than the sound files. And I said to him, the reason I like to do it like this with all the bringing up the actual clips and individually placing them, it takes much longer and it's not as intuitive if you're making a drum pattern, but it means that I've committed the pattern and made it a whole song. If I want to change that whole song, I have to go and individually move that kick, that one, that kick, that one, that kick, like that. But I prefer that, you know, I want to like make sure stuff not be too precious and like try and forget some of the old like bad learnings essentially, you know.
Sick.
So what, by the time we record the next pod,
Go is out.
Go is out.
Go is out on this Friday,
Oh,
30th
man.
of Jan. Pre-save link in the bio.
I'm buzzing.
Well done. That was sick.
Come on.
A little drive-by. Angles.